Welcome to the 700 Club. Americans may think the war on terror is over and that al-Qaeda is no longer a threat. But the terrorist group is still working hard to build up its power.
Al-Qaeda is expanding its reach into new hotspots around the world, and it's recruiting Americans to join its cause. CBN terrorism analyst Eric Stakelbeck has the story.
A recent study found American citizens make up more than half of those convicted for involvement with al-Qaeda. Many converted to Islam from Christianity. The stunning statistic is another sign that the face of al-Qaeda is changing in more ways than one.
They had these aspirations essentially to use Mali as a base to expand jihad across the entire part of Africa, North Africa, West Africa, and then also from there then they can franchise into Europe.
Rudy Atala is a former counterterrorism director for the Pentagon. He says al-Qaeda in the Islamic Maghreb, or AQIM, poses a growing danger to Africa and beyond.
It's the wealthiest AQ affiliate in the world. They've made so much money. I've heard quotes as much as $90 million to $120 million. So they're flush with cash, they have a lot of weapons, and they have recruits everywhere.
The northern branch of AQIM engineered a recent hostage crisis when it seized an Algerian gas plant and murdered at least 39 people, including one American. The group's southern branch conquered much of northern Mali before being pushed back by the French military earlier this year. It threatens to go even further.
Ayman Zawahiri, who is the current emir of al-Qaeda, said that he wanted AQIM to be a bone that would lodge itself in the throats of the Americans and the French.
AQIM's allies in Libya did just that last year when they stormed the U.S. consulate in Benghazi and murdered 4 Americans, including Ambassador Christopher Stevens. The attack shows how al-Qaeda has branched out from its traditional base or core in the tribal regions of Pakistan to new areas around the world. From Yemen to Iraq to Syria to Sinai and on to Somalia, Libya, Nigeria, Algeria, Mali, and Europe, al-Qaeda and its affiliates are expanding their reach. Israel is clearly in the group's crosshairs, with Sinai fast becoming an al-Qaeda base.
What we see today, actually, and began then, is a kind of coalition between the Salafis, some of them coming from Yemen, from Saudi Arabia, Palestinians, and Bedouins.
Israeli terror expert Eli Carmon told CBN News that al-Qaeda sympathizers have also set up shop in the Gaza Strip along Israel's southern border.
Many of them are ex-members of Hamas, which are disillusioned, or because they have personal disagreements with the leadership. Although they are not affiliated really with al-Qaeda, they present themselves as al-Qaeda.
Al-Qaeda-linked groups have also taken advantage of Syria's civil war and now control some villages along that country's border with Israel. But America remains al-Qaeda's top target. The latest issue of the group's official magazine gives specific instructions on carrying out attacks inside the United States. Eric Stakelbeck, CBN News, Washington.
Well, it seems al-Qaeda keeps morphing, and Africa now seems to be their new base of supply and support. And the attack on the American ambassador in Libya is sort of the beginning stages of that. How sophisticated can they become? I don't know, but we need to be praying for the leadership of America, that they would have wisdom in how to fight this incredible battle. A new policy aimed at fighting terrorism on airlines here in America has led to a heated debate on Capitol Hill. Lee Webb has that story from the CBN Newsroom. Lee?
And Gordon, that debate centers on one key question. Is it really a good idea to allow knives, even small ones, on board airplanes? The Transportation Security Administration, the TSA, says yes, but many critics in Congress don't agree. Dale Hurd has that story.
It was a knife fight of sorts on Capitol Hill. Lawmakers grilled TSA Administrator John Pistole about his decision to allow small pocket knives, golf clubs, and even hockey sticks on planes.
This is a big deal, and I'm trying to figure out how this could not be perceived as something potentially dangerous to the people on planes.
If we simply focus on objects, then we're always behind the 8 ball.
Pistole says hardened cockpit doors make it extremely difficult to hijack a plane with a knife, and he'd rather airport screeners focus on bigger threats, such as improvised explosive devices.
A small pocket knife is simply not going to result in the catastrophic failure of an aircraft.
The decision has brought on a firestorm, with major airlines and unions representing airplane crew members voicing outrage. concerned flight attendants and TSA screeners gathered at the Capitol.
We all know that any way you slice it, a knife like this is a weapon and it doesn't belong on an airplane.
No knives on planes, not now, not ever.
Box cutters like the ones the 9/11 hijackers used would still be banned, but the new policy allows folding blades less than a half-inch wide. A bill has already been introduced in Congress to stop the agency's plan from ever getting off the ground.
TSA will give this blade a boarding pass and tell this other blade that it is banned. The TSA policy makes no sense.
Dale Hurd, CBN News.
This year's Conservative Political Action Conference near Washington may be one of the most important ever. It's providing a stage for would-be presidential candidates in 2016. Among them, Senators Marco Rubio and Rand Paul. Paul made reference to his recent Senate filibuster over the administration's use of drones to go after American terror suspects without a trial.
The message for the president is that no one person gets to decide the law. No one person gets to decide your guilt or innocence. My question to the president was about more than just killing Americans on American soil. My question was about whether presidential power has limits.
Just because I believe that states should have the right to define marriage in a traditional way does not make me a bigot. Just because we believe that life, all human life, is worthy of protection at every stage in its development does not make you a chauvinist. In fact, the people who are actually closed-minded in American politics are the people that love to preach about the certainty of science when regards to our climate, but ignore the absolute fact that science has proven that life begins at conception.
Another big name at CPAC this year, Tim Scott. The South Carolinian has risen quickly from a conservative businessman to U.S. Senator, and he spoke with CBN's David Brody.
What has this meteoric rise been like, and especially as it relates to you're a man of faith, and what have those conversations with God been like through all of this?
Well, I tell you, there's no doubt this is a blessing. I see it as a gift from God, and I thank Him for it. And what I think I have been charged with the opportunity to do is to unleash opportunities, to really focus on the basic conservative principles. We as Americans are very conservative people. And so I try to focus my attention on that shared value, those shared values. And as we do that, I hear very clearly in my heart at least that we're moving in the right direction as we fight for very conservative principles. And that's a very good thing for our future.
And you can watch more of that interview with Tim Scott along with David's interview with Texas Governor Rick Perry. Just check out the Brody File on CBNNews.com. A judge has blocked the federal government from requiring the founder of Domino's Pizza to provide contraception in his insurance coverage for employees. Tom Monahan filed a lawsuit against the federal government. He's a devout Roman Catholic and claims contraception is a, quote, gravely immoral practice. He offers health insurance for employees, but it does not include coverage for contraception or abortion. Federal Judge Lawrence Zatkoff's ruling covers Domino's Farms Corp., a management company with no connection to Domino's Pizza. Well, it could be the next step in making technology easier to use. Samsung releasing a new smartphone that people can control with their eyes and by waving at it. The Galaxy S4 has software that analyzes your eyes and places a video on pause just by looking away from the screen. And people can use their eyes and wrists to browse through emails and other information. Samsung reportedly expects to sell up to 10 million of these new phones a month, Gordon.
I think I've crossed the age where I just don't want new technology anymore. I just want a phone that makes phone calls. And it is just incredible how sophisticated these things have become, and how I know with my teenagers, they've got these devices and they want to get plugged into Facebook and all kinds of social media and keep track of every moment of their lives. But Terry, I don't know, my smartphone makes me seem like I'm dumb.
Yeah, no, I have the fat finger syndrome. But do you make your kids put their phones aside at the table?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But then they try to sneak them.
Yeah, and you hear this, you hear this little dinging under the table. Yeah,
you hear this noise under the table. What's that?
The governor of Mississippi has signed a bill into law that could lead to student-led prayers over school intercoms, at graduations, or sporting events. The new law requires all Mississippi school districts to adopt a policy that allows students to express their religious beliefs at various school events. The policy must include a disclaimer, however, that the students' views are not endorsed by the school district. The American Civil Liberties Union says the measure is likely to prompt a lawsuit. Operation Blessing partnered with software company SAG AP to commemorate the second anniversary of the Japanese earthquake and tsunami. They presented 10 boats to fishermen whose livelihoods were destroyed. 6 of them are new custom-made vessels commissioned last December by Operation Blessing. OB has provided nearly 100 boats to fishermen and more than $600,000 worth of seaweed and oyster cultivation equipment to help devastated communities recover. You can find out more about Operation Blessing by going to its website at ob.org.